The French Open draw is here, and I have filled it out with my bad handwriting. Novak Djokovic turns 36 years of age, which by his own father's standard means he should have already retired a couple years ago. But the biggest thing to me is what just happened in Rome.
So you and obviously your team. Now clay season starts, so let's see how you do there. But I wish you all the best.
Well, if only Jannik Sinner knew what his well wishes would do for Danny Medvedev. Sinner didn't believe in it. No one believed in it. Even, take a look here, Medvedev didn't believe in himself here either.
Well, I don't want to play here on this circuit.
Well.
Medvedev is the master.
And then now, a couple years later, the Master of Rome, Masters 1000 champion on the clay, Danny Medvedev is this goes to highlight the biggest problem we have in men's tennis. Maybe you could argue in women's tennis too. Mental toughness. Believing in yourself and your abilities to win. Or Medvedev, I don't have the clip for you. I wish I did. Why do I always say that every show? I do so much preparation, yet I still don't always have all the things that I'd like to talk about. But I heard Medvedev saying he has a opposite kind of approach to things. A lot of guys say, I can be number one, I can win a Grand Slam, I can do anything. And Medvedev tells himself, I can't do these things. Then he laughed and he said, obviously, I want to win and I'm not, trying to self-sabotage or anything like that. He didn't say that, but that was basically what he was trying to say. He said, my point is that I just, in a weird way, I think Medvedev and the Nadal mindset have a lot in common here. Medvedev tells himself, to not focus on all these big dreams that all these players grow up telling themselves that they're going to accomplish one day. He doesn't focus on a big picture like that. He takes a more Nadal-like approach and focuses on it shot by shot, just trying to play better in the moment. So that appears to work for Medvedev 20 times in different places. But still, Medvedev has now won 20 titles, never defended a title. 20 different places on the tour. He's won 20 different titles. It works for him. Why is it not working for all these other young guys that we've been told are so good? Another great thing I saw in the last week that I don't have for you today, but Roger Federer did I had to say Roger in case anyone didn't know who I was talking about. Roger Federer, maybe some young people, some young tennis fans out there don't know who he is. Federer did a Ask Me Anything session somewhere. I don't know where. And one of the questions was, Roger, who do you think's going to break through and be the next champion? And Roger said, let me see and think who I can heap a bunch of pressure on. Just draw. He said something like that. He said, drop out of the sky. Who can I drop a bunch of pressure on out of the sky randomly from all the young tennis guns? And he's got a good point. All these guys, when they get anointed as the next big thing. Holger Rune even said something in his presser after losing it. Think about it. Medvedev beat 3 guys that he should never have beat on clay at a big tournament. Especially with Rune as good as he's been lately. With Zverev, as he said himself, he was going to beat Nadal if he hadn't rolled his ankle last year and maybe take the French title for himself. And Tsitsipas, the next Prince of Clay right after Dominic Thiem was dismissed with his injuries and all the stuff that's happened to him, of course. So Medvedev beats these guys that he should never beat, and I think you can make a strong case it's because he's a mentally tougher player. So with that said, let's go to these metrics I mentioned in the last show. I saw these after quarterfinals about. I think it was after almost everyone had played their quarterfinal in Rome. So now that they've extended the tournament and it lasts longer in Rome than it used to, we had at least a few matches under their belts. So these are real stats on the clay in Rome. Take a look. I don't know how they get these. I said last week I didn't have a lot of faith in these metrics because one, I'm not sure exactly how they get it. And two, it really comes down to the mental side when the matches are very close and the players are both very good, especially. So serve shot quality, Tsitsipas, right? He lost in the semis, but he was number 1 here by a long shot. Djokovic, number 2. Coric, number 3. Hanfman, number 4. The guys that actually made the final, Rune and Medvedev, they're almost at the bottom. Just Francisco Cerundolo is below them on that. Now, here's return shot quality. By the way, Cerundolo's an interesting player, hasn't he? He kind of came out of nowhere. And this guy's done really well, so interesting to see what he will do. But one thing I can say about him is he's got a really sweet forehand. Although he's ranking here at the top of the returns. I don't know where he ranked on the forehand. We'll look at it in a moment. And Medvedev's right there, and Rune is right there. So maybe you could say that this metric is more important on clay than service. That's a fair point. Let's go to this one. Forehand shot quality. Now look who's on there. The biggest loser of the bunch. Really struggled on clay this year. He won in Estoril. And then he's hardly won any matches ever since. And that's Casper Ruud boy, who is another one of these princes of clay, one of these guys who might win multiple French Opens. Maybe he still will. I don't know. One of these guys who might win multiple French Opens if Nadal's out of the way. And guess what? This year, Nadal is out of the way at the French Open. Maybe next year, maybe forever, we won't see Nadal there. I hope not, Rafa fans out there. I'm not gloating or anything like that. But this year, we know for sure Rafa's not going to be a factor. This is one of those guys who was supposed to do great here. Holger Rune, I think I started saying this earlier and forgot to finish my sentence. Holger Rune said, maybe I lost this final, and I saw press he did before the final against Medvedev in Rome. Holger Rune was saying stuff like, finals are different. There's a lot more pressure. Finals are much more mental. And then after he lost, he said, maybe I've just put too much pressure on myself and, let all this praise he's getting for his game and his results get to his head a little bit. Maybe. I think Casper Ruud is definitely maybe let a little pressure get to him as well, since, not having the best year, gets on clay, and it's still not happening. And then he went to Geneva, Switzerland, and this happened, where he's undefeated, by the way. By the way, listen to Jera. Casper Ruud already down a break, breaks back, gets broken again, and this is how it ends, returning serve. Another miserable, disappointing, shocking loss for Casper Ruud. I think Casper Ruud is just as shocked as we are, and he didn't really play that bad in that match. And when stuff like that starts happening, right? You're in this losing streak, and then you're losing matches where you're playing pretty good, and just someone like that who has a really big game, and if they're on their day, you could argue they could beat anybody. It's probably not Rafa, but anybody else on the clay, a big hitter like that. When you start losing matches like that too, it almost feels like you're just destined to keep losing. So maybe that's what's going on with Casper Ruud boy right now. Take a look at the backhand shot quality. Let me go back to the forehand really quick. Where's our boys Rune and Medvedev? All right, Medvedev's pretty high up he's number 4. He's in the middle. Rune's all the way on the bottom. Rune came closer winning this thing than any of these other guys on the list. And look at backhand shot quality. Casper Ruud on top, and the guy who beat him in the semifinals. Right when Casper Ruud felt like he had this match, took his foot off the gas a little bit, and then he loses it. You can never relax in this sport. That is probably the best thing about Rafa Nadal's game. He doesn't relax. He doesn't take anything for granted. He keeps fighting like nothing is owed to him. I don't know if Casper Ruud felt like this finals place in the Rome final was owed to him, but for whatever reason, he took his foot off the gas, and he let the guy who's, according to the ATP metrics guys, the stats guys, he let the guy who's having much worse forehands and backhands beat him. Because it's not always about forehands and backhands, as the great Novak Djokovic said. Tennis is about a mental sport, right? Once you get into the top 100, it all comes down to who is mentally tougher in the moment. So let's look at some more stats. Here's the Holger Rune stats and the Medvedev stats. And the thing I noticed right off the top, and we'll look at the Tsitsipas semifinal too with Medvedev. 7-5, 7-5, both matches won by Medvedev. And the stats are like pretty close. Matches with two good players, a lot of times the stats are close like this, but 19 winners on 21 unforced for Meds. He's down -2 differential. -5 for Rune. Yeah, it's a bigger differential, but he out-hit him with winners. Yeah, there's more errors, whatever. Looking at net points won, they're both over 50%. Unreturned serves, Medvedev got a few more, but they're pretty even there. Serve points won, almost even. Baseline points won, Medvedev looks better there. And if you look at when he wins the points, only wins 9 altogether more. Let's look at the serve numbers. Again, they're like pretty similar. Holger Rune getting less first serves in, but he's doing way better on second serve numbers than Medvedev. Really, what it comes down to are the end of these sets. And Holger Rune, had a great chance to win those sets in the end. He was looking good in the end. It was Medvedev who elevated his game when you get to those numbers like 4-5, 5-5, 5-6. That's when the mentally tough guy will come through. Let's take a look at Tsitsipas. Or first, look at this. I got this ahead of it. Medvedev, look who he's elevated beyond. Zverev, Dominic Thiem was going to be a guy who was going to take over when the big three began to decline. Stan Wawrinka obviously has had a great career. Richard Gasquet is right there. I don't know, maybe he's not as legendary of a career as Stan Wawrinka, but he's been a consistent top player on the tour for many years. And Medvedev's ahead of all those guys. John Isner, who's had a real resurgence in his career and did a lot of, has some big titles, won some big titles. Marin Cilic, Grand Slam champion. So now Medvedev is he's ahead of everyone except for our big three, big four members here. Andy Murray, if Roger was still playing, he'd obviously be ahead as well. So Medvedev, with this talent of mental toughness in a game that's kind of like a Djokovic but taller with a bigger serve and movement that's ain't going to move as good as Djokovic being that tall, but very close for that height, as close as you can hope. All of a sudden, this guy's in the conversation. He's ahead of everybody else. He was, since his BS Russian days when he called out Tsitsipas, he wasn't a favorite for anyone, myself included. I was more excited about where Tsitsipas would go with his career than Medvedev. But I should give Paul Anaconda, former coach of Roger Federer, and Pete Sampras a little credit. I remember him saying years ago back then that he thought Medvedev had more upside than Tsitsipas. So he got that one right. But who would have thought Medvedev would be ahead of all these guys? Same with Zverev. Zverev, lots of high hopes there, still has time. Let's look at the stats with Tsitsipas. Again, they're not too far off. Tsitsipas is out hitting him by 5 winners. Of course, a lot more unforced errors. That's a bigger gap than with Rune, but still, the numbers aren't too different. And if you just look at, the first and second set minus the last 2-3 games, Tsitsipas stats might be better. I don't know. They'll be really close then. Looking at the serve numbers, Tsitsipas, who served so well in the first serve this whole tournament, the sheer awesomeness of the Medvedev return takes that number down into the 70s, a number that had been close to 90% in some of his matches. And Tsitsipas is winning more on the second serve points, just like Holger Rune was, than Medvedev is. But when it was time, when it was crunch time, and it was really clutch moments in those matches, it was always Medvedev who came out on top in the end. And that's why this guy won on a surface that he was never supposed to win on, right? Even you saw the clip earlier. Even he himself didn't really give him. I think he did say in the trophy ceremony or right before it in the encore interview. I think he said even he never would have thought he would win in Rome a Masters 1000 on clay, and he said simply because there's too many guys that I shouldn't be able to beat here. Tsitsipas is one of them. Sasha Zverev is one of them. It's an amazing thing what he did, and I'll leave you with this. For all the talk of mental toughness, let's not forget when things started going wrong with Tsitsipas. I think of that Borna Coric match at the U.S. Open and all the stuff with Tsitsipas and his parents. I heard a commentator say it must have been the Medvedev match. Yeah, I think it was the Medvedev match. And I think it was Robbie Koenig. He's back at Tennis TV doing a good job there. And he said, it's just too chaotic. It's too distracting because he had his mom yelling at him in Russian. And Tsitsipas said, don't yell at me in Russian. It was definitely the Medvedev match because he said, don't yell at me in Russian because Medvedev can hear what you're saying, right? Like Medvedev even cares what Tsitsipas and his mom and dad's game plan is on the fly in the middle of the second set or something like that. And then he's getting yelled at in Greek by his dad at the same time. And Robbie Koenig pointed out something. He said, it's just simply too chaotic. Whatever you think about having your parents as your coach, good or bad, it doesn't matter. But this circus show that they bring on the road to all these tennis tournaments around the world where Tsitsipas is going back and forth with both of his parents and, I don't know, coaches get in on it sometimes. I think of when I was in Italy and Tsitsipas smacked that ball. He had that volley grip and just hit a hard feed like Sampras' coach used to do for him. Hit a hard feed, right? And then remember they jumped. They all jumped. Like Tsitsipas might blast them in the face. Like Robbie Koenig said, that's a lot going on there. I think it's very distracting. And of course, when there was rain, I don't know if you remember, there was some rain Medvedev said, we got to stop playing. Tsitsipas wanted to keep playing. It was obviously too much rain to keep playing. They go into the locker room. Soon as those guys walk off court, this is what the cameraman showed. I wonder who he's calling. Welcome to Coffee Break Tennis. Take that all in. 20 titles, 20 different places, all surfaces included. Danny Medvedev, what a guy. Who would have thought it would be him? He would be the one. Now, could he win the French Open? I don't know, but that's what we'll find out in today's exciting edition of Coffee Break Tennis French Open Draw Show. We've done a few of these things before, and I think this is going to be a good one. There is a lot of funny stuff to come out of Rome, though. Let me play this for you before we move further on the draw.
It's the umpire that makes me look like a bad guy. It's always the umpire that makes me look like a bad guy. Always.
Joker's news. You're effing useless. What did he say? Something like that at the end. It's always you umpires that make me look like a bad guy. Here's another funny one. Take a look at this. So after he beat Tsitsipas. Sorry, Mehdi, you won the match but lost the rhythm battle. What Mike saw. I don't think so. Look, can we see that again? Okay, yeah, like maybe Tsitsipas's dance is a little bit better than Med's, but Tsitsipas is the one who started this, and his dance is pretty terrible. Whereas Med's, his dance doesn't have to be good at all. Just the fact that he beat him on clay, right? Tsitsipas beating Med's on hard court is one thing, but Med's beating Tsitsipas in the semifinals to go to a final in Rome in a Masters 1000, that's shocking. So Med wins. Just the fact that he got the win, and then he had the nerve to dance back on Tsitsipas. Wowzers. Anyways, yeah, you saw the 20 times. I really like Med's going in, but can he actually win this thing? Well, what I think he can do, for sure, is hold up to this quarterfinal projection. Take a look at it. Alcaraz, Tsitsipas, I think we'll get it. Djokovic, Rublev, I think we'll get it. Holger Rune, Casper Ruud. I don't know about Casper Ruud, but I think Holger Rune will be there. Jannik Sinner, I hate to say it, I've been so hot on the guy, and he's had a pretty good year. But Jannik Sinner, I don't know for sure. I think when we look at the draw, I think his draw is open enough for him to get there. But I like Medvedev's draw to get to that quarterfinal, at least. Now, I saw this, all of our Instagram people post these. We like to use the one that Ollie, who's been doing it forever before it became popular, everyone copied Ollie. We like to use his, but I just want to show you the difference. So they're going, I like those quarters for the most part. I think those will happen, but I think everything else is going to be like totally unpredictable. So will Djokovic get Alexander Kovacevic? Well, yes. Marty Fucsovics? Yeah, maybe. I think he'll beat him too. Davidovich Fokina? Maybe. Hubi? Okay, I like these ones look pretty reasonable. Rublev, Alcaraz, Medvedev in the final. Like all these could happen, right? But I might even have my draw showing all of these matches happening, in fact. But I like what Ollie did here. Let's put the slashes in because a lot of these matches, who knows what's really going to happen here. This is going to be, even though I like those quarterfinals because who's going to stop these guys? But one thing we know for sure, it's going to be a weird French Open because Rafa, of course, is not there. And when Rafa's not there, we have no idea who's going to win. It should be Djokovic, but who knows with Djokovic's the elbow, all the issues that have been going on with him. Is he going to be ready to win this whole thing? Well, luckily, let's look at the Ollie version of Djokovic's draw. It could be Grenier or Fucsovics. Like, I have Fucsovics going, but who knows? Fucsovics has been a real head case. He actually, it's funny. I wish I had the clip. He went off. Oh, God, how about Michael Emer? I had that clip. What did I do with it? We'll look at it again in the next show because it's too wonderful. But Fucsovics was playing Scam Nori and complained the same way that Djokovic did. He said, he wasn't. It wasn't there. The clip that went around was the next match. It was Baez, I think. He said, this guy's playing he said, how old are you? That's what it was. Marty Fucsovics says, how old are you? Are you 12? He's like, no, I'm 22. He looks like a little unsure. Like, is this guy gonna punch me? He wasn't super defensive. He was kind of caught off guard by, he's 22. He's pretty young. He's caught off guard by Fucsovics confronting him. And then Vucevic says, this guy acts like he's 12 years old. Vamos, come on. After every single point, every time I hit a double fall, they make an unforced error. This guy's fist pumping in my face. I'm effing sick of it. This guy's, he said all kinds of stuff about him. Anyways, then he said it was the same with Cam Norrie just yesterday. He'd beat Cam Norrie the day before, I believe. And Vucevic had similar complaints to what we just saw from, excuse me if you didn't see Djokovic's complaints about Cam Norrie. That was a thing that happened earlier in Rome. Anyways, Vucevic, Grenier, Davidovich, Fokina, Marco Cecchinato, good eye from Ollie. Cecchinato could come through there. Hubi Hurkacz, Roberto Batista Agut, I don't know. David Goffin, I don't know. But in the past, a lot of respect from Ollie. Those guys should be able to come through. It ain't like Hurkacz has had an unbelievable year. Mr. Rubles, I think he should be able to get there. Kachanov, got to give him respect because he's had a pretty good year. He could get there as well. Alcaraz, Tsitsipas. I have a big question mark on my draw. Carlitos Way or Stefanos? I'm not sure. Because even though I love to make fun of Stefanos and dump on him all the time now, especially when as soon as he goes in the locker room for a rain delay, he's got to get a phone call from his dad waited like 5 seconds. He had to be calling Steph, right? Who else could he be calling? I almost turned into Johnny Mac over that. I have a big question mark there because, anything can happen here. I like Alcaraz to come through over Tsitsipas, but I didn't feel comfortable. I still haven't wrote it in. There's a question mark sitting there. Medvedev, Casper Ruud, Holger Rune. Any of those dudes could end up in the final for Joker. I'm more sure about Joker making the final, even with the asterisks of I don't even know if the guy's fully fit and healthy, ready to do this. I think he has enough time to get through Kovacevic, Vucevic, Cecchinato, even though Cecchinato did beat him at the French Open one year. I think it was Cecchinato. Yeah, didn't Cecchinato beat Djokovic at the French one year? It's like 2016 or something, or 2017. I can't remember. Anyways, I think Djokovic, when he's playing these guys, he'll be able to work his way into his best version of himself. Okay, let's look at Chris O'Connell, Shapo. Talk about a disappointing year. Scam Norrie, Tsitsipas, Djokovic, Medvedev. Like, it looks tough after those first few rounds. I mean, Cam Norrie is not easy. It's weird playing him. He's got the really flat backhand. He's got one of the flattest backhands around. It's kind of like a Manarino backhand. And then he's got a very spinny, high-bouncing, should I say Rafa-like forehand? Not exactly. But, a very different ball you see depending on whether you hit into his forehand or backhand. And, and he's pretty tough out there. And we know that he does Bush League things to try to distract his opponents, like Novak Djokovic and Marty Vucevic have both testified to. Tsitsipas, Djokovic, Medvedev, like that's not exactly easy. Tsitsipas should always be good here, unless you're Djokovic. He's a threat. Medvedev's road to the final. Can you believe it? Medvedev going to the final. Let me see. I had one more thing to show you. It was really funny. So U.S. Open, you'll notice we've gone through all of their guys to watch out for and who they could run into. This is why I like Medvedev coming through because he's already beat some of the guys that could be dangerous. He just did it, and it's interesting here. You got Casper Ruud and Alcaraz, in there, but there's other players who probably like Casper Ruud. Are we really sure? And do we know for sure Alcaraz can come through Djokovic here in a final at the French? I don't know. But Borna Coric, even though he's been really good lately, is he going to stop Medvedev after Medvedev, has all this confidence? A qualifier, maybe like things don't get off to a great start in the first round for Meds. I don't know. It will play a little different. Although, what are the weather conditions going to be like in France? Maybe it'll be really rainy this year, like it was in Rome. I don't know. But Rome definitely is less like the French Open because of the weather this year than normal. And they do have a roof at the French, so there is that too for these big players. So we're going to be on center court all the time. Nishioka, Quentin Hallas, Borna Coric, Yannick Sinner right now, Casper Ruud. Like, no one on this do I think is a guarantee other than Alcaraz, right? If it was the final, I'd have a hard time picking Med over Alcaraz. But who knows? It becomes mental at that point. Alcaraz is the only other person besides our beloved Big Three and Medvedev who've proven that they can be very mentally tough and very challenging scenarios. Casper Ruud boy. And remember, Medvedev did take out Djokovic when he was going for all four. I don't...
He likes the Pokemon.
Who did Alcaraz take out? Did Alcaraz take out anybody in his U.S. Open run that I'm forgetting about? Like, he definitely didn't beat Djokovic in best of 5 there. Anyways, let's not take away for winning the U.S. Open from Alcaraz. Look at this. Tennis Channel had to do this one. But, other places like the U.S. Open we were just looking at, they didn't even give Casper Ruud the projected run here. Bublik. Will he get past Bublik? All right, that's, we'll go into my draw. We'll go to my draw. But first, before you do this, Ollie, I saw, tweeted this out. And this is from Carlos Moya, revealing something that happened in that when they made it indoor, the weather was very different, and Djokovic and Nadal played in the 2020 COVID-era French Open that they did in like September or October. It was like October, it was very different conditions. And they closed the roof on. They come to tell us, the RG people, that the final is going to be played indoors. And we wondered, how are we going to tell Rafa, right? The team, Carlos Moya and the whole coaching team, they get the information. They're going to the locker room to tell Rafa that this is about to happen. And Rafa's response was, and if you know Rafa, this doesn't sound like Rafa. And Moya will say, Rafa's never said a thing like this to me before a match, ever. He said, I don't care. It doesn't change anything. I'm going to win this match. That's what Rafa said. I don't care. It doesn't change anything. I'm going to win this match. If there ever was a place, even against Djokovic in a final, where Rafa could just take it, it's not like he took it for granted. But you know what I mean? Normally that's not Rafa's approach. It's like what Medvedev was saying, just Medvedev's like way of looking at it, a little bit different. But to me, they're very similar. Don't tell yourself that these things are going to happen, that you're going to win these things. Tell yourself that these things are not going to happen unless, you do everything in your power to fight for it every point, one ball at a time. So anyways, I thought that was interesting that Rafa said that. What a mental giant of our sport. All right, put it on the screen. Let's dive deep into my draw. This is where we go into the little tiny details and really pick this thing apart. Carlitos Alcaraz gets a qualifié, a lucky loser. He gets one of those in the first round and he wins. Carlitos goes through. I'll take Chris O'Connell over Taro Daniel. I'll take Carlitos over both of them. Matteo Arnaldi and Daniel Alahi Galan. I put a question mark on this one. I think these guys have had some wins. They're in similar situations, as far as getting they need this. This is like I put stars in some of these where I think it's going to be a fight to the death. Like I put Michael Emer and Lorenzo Musetti. I put a star on that just because let's see how Michael Emer bounces back after smashing his racket, smashing the umpire's chair. God, I can't. What a bozo. I promise, even though we're going to have so much French Open stuff to talk about next time I see you and the tournament's already started, we'll look at, we'll compare some racket. Because the funny thing about that was Michael Emer, he said, what about Zverev? Did Zverev get defaulted? Well, Zverev and Pliskova, for that matter. I'm trying to think. Should I just pop this in later? No. Let's just get the video done. I'm always adding things to videos to make it take longer to make them. That's not necessary. But in both of those cases, they'd already lost the match before they started assaulting the umpire's chair with their rackets. Michael Emer hadn't even lost the first set yet before he obliterated a massive hole in the side of the umpire's chair and completely destroyed his racket. And the best thing was Michael Emer, only the handle is left. And he just throws that handle up in there. If you didn't see it, go look it up now or just wait for the next video. I promise we'll put it in. We'll put it in early too. We'll talk about what's going on in the French Open, then we'll say, as promised, we'll go straight into it. I swear it. Anyways, I put a question mark here because I think these guys have both had good results on clay so far, and this is an important match for them. And, sometimes it sucks for a couple guys to meet in the first round, even if they're guys that most tennis fans have never even heard of. But Arnaldi has been a little hotter, so I took him. Shapovalov, I have no faith in. Nakashima's had some good wins recently. We'll take Nakashima. I got Musetti over Michael Emer, but I'm going to watch because I'm a Michael Emer fan forever now. I took Oscar the Otter over Shevchenko. Here we got two qualifiés, lucky loser. And, all we can say is a qualifié lucky loser is going to come through there. Benoit Paire, Cam Norrie. Yeah, we'll take Cam Norrie, even though we'd love to see Benoit Paire win that match. Felix Auger all day, Aliassime. I'm picking an upset there. Another one that's tough for those guys to play each other in the first round, but I'm going to take Fabio. Jason Kubler, let's say the Qualifié takes him out. What the hell? Maximo Crescia, we'll take Cressy. I think his game is challenging anywhere, but on clay it can be really tricky to deal with. Sebastian Korda and Smacky McDonald, guys have been struggling. Big question mark there. We'll take Korda. Shorty D, I only take him over Zapata Morales Bernabe, who's had a pretty good year in clay. But his last match I saw, he lost 6-0, 3-0, retired. I didn't see that match. I just saw the scoreline. Good on him for trying to play for 9 games, but he must be messed up. I don't know if he's healthy. So we'll take Shorty D, even though Shorty D is, his dad was having some issues earlier in the year. I don't know if that's better. We hope, fingers crossed. I think his dad had been in the hospital, and Shorty D's been very depressed. So, we feel for you, Shorty D, and hope things work out and that you can get back to doing what you do best on the tennis tour. I'll take John Isner, even though unknown commodity here, but with his game, he should be able to win a first round against Nuno Borges. What else? We'll take Roberto Garbayas Baena over at Qualifié. And of course, we will take Steph Tsitsipas over Yuri Vesely. Moving through there, I guess Steph taking out, everyone, even Isner, Cressy, Fabio. Like, this is pretty easy. Steph should come through here. Maybe he will get smacked by Carlitos. Carlitos could run into Musetti or Scam Nori. They're not exactly easy guys to play. Musetti can be really good on clay. But I don't see any reason for these guys not to come through. If Steph had some really tough challenges early on, maybe I wouldn't give it to him right away. But I say the quarter is fulfilled here. And same with the bottom half. Let's go to the Joker. He's going to beat the heck out of Kovacevic. Tough to say, but we'll take Marty Fucsovics, and we'll say Joker beats him. Van Arshlach. This guy actually gave Djokovic a really tough match. I think he won the first set at Banja Luka, which is like, it's in Bosnia, I guess, but it's like a Serbian part of Bosnia. And they'll never be there again because the guy, I can't say it on YouTube. You're not allowed to say the word. It's a thing Europeans like to say, though. He called him a bad word that the Djokovic family won't like. And you can Google it if you want. But the tournament director, I think he was, at Banja Luka, it used to be the Serbian Open in Belgrade. I don't think it'll be back there after what I read. Anyways, moving on. We'll take Van Arshlach, even though Marco Cecchinato, maybe I'll amend that after Ollie's, after looking at his. Cecchinato, it's not like he's had a great year or anything, but we know he's good on clay. I like that Van Arshlach guy. Even though he's French with a German name, he must be from Alsace-Lorraine. Let's go with Davidovich Fokina, but Arthur Fils. Monfils? Arthur Fils. Arthur Fils, I used to have a hard time saying that. He's pretty good. That's a tough one. We'll go with Davidovich, but who knows? Roberto Batista Agut, not been good for him lately. We'll take Wu Yibing. I kind of like that guy, actually. We'll take a Qualifié over Varillas. We'll take Talon Griekspoor. He's had a great year. And goes to show you, winning is winning. The guy was winning a lot on the Challenger Tour in the minor leagues. And he was able to have some good results on the ATP Tour, 250s, 500s, and beyond. So we'll take him in the first round. David Goffin has had a really hard time. We'll take Hubie Doobie. We'll definitely take KH, Karen Khachanov. We'll take a Qualifié over a wild card from the U.S. for sure. Remember, the Qualifiés, they actually have to play and win on clay. And these wild cards just get to show up. A lot of times they get overwhelmed by someone who's battle-hardened. We'll take Dirty Man Stan. Dirty Old Man Stan. I don't know why I said that. I've never said that before. It just jumped out at me. But maybe it's because it's him and Albert Ramos Vinolas, who an associate of mine happened to stumble across in the locker room totally naked in Cincinnati one time at a tennis club we were working at. Anyways, maybe that's why I said Dirty Old Man, because I just remembered that. That thing was walking around. That thing was swinging around the locker room, and my poor associate, he accidentally saw that. Anyways, I'll take Stan over Ramos Vinolas, Albert Ramos Vinolas, but that's kind of a tough one again. Like, both these guys are good on clay. One of them won the French Open before, obviously. But, Stan's had good wins. He hasn't been great overall this year, but he's had good wins where you think he might be able to have another great run somewhere. And apparently I think it's here because I got him going to the round of 16, as you can see. We'll take Dirty Dan over the Cocky, but that's another really tough pick, but I'll take Dirty Dan. We'll take Sonig over Ben Shelton, but that I put a star by that. I think Ben Shelton's a really exciting guy to watch. He's got a lot of experience on clay this year. Maybe it'll come through right here. He's another guy who seems to be pretty tough mentally, not phased like some other young guys. Hugo Humbert will take over another Frenchman in Manarino. Léon Française. We'll take Corentin. There's a lot of French guys here. We'll take Moutet. And we'll take Rubles. Okay, so running through there really quick. We got the Joker taking out Davidovich. We got the Joker smoking Hoobies Doobie. We got Stan taking out Karen Hachinov. That could be tough, but it's possible. We got Humbert going down to Rubles. We got Mr. Rubles coming through. We got Joker beating him. Who would pick Andrei Rublev to take out Djokovic here? Unless Joker has some serious problems. All right, let's go through the bottom half. Should we hit the music yet? Let's get through one quarter, then we will. Holger Rune, star. Chris Eubanks. All right, the guy's from Atlanta. Maybe that's why I started. But Chris Eubanks, I just saw him playing Zverev. It was an interesting match. He's got a big serve. He's got a big game. He's a big, tall guy. He's got a slice backhand and a one-handed backhand topspin as well. He uses the slice more, it seems like to me. That's not the best thing, especially in clay, as us Federer fans know. But he can play a big game, and he comes to net, and he's really good at putting volleys away and finishing at net. So that could be an interesting match. So I starred it, but I got Holger Rune. Yeah, Sebastian Baez. This is the guy who Fucsovics was saying is Bush League. Doesn't have much class, I guess you could say, is the case he's making. Sadly, I'm going to take him over Gael Monfils because Monfils just, not having a great year. I hope he will have a great year, maybe next year, but I don't know. Might be coming towards the end for him too. Some guy's name I can't say who's French. We'll take the Qualife because he's a wild card. We'll take Kecmanovic. We'll take Cerundolo, who's been really good, not just in Miami. That's where he first broke out on the scene a year or two ago. Spanish Jerry Seinfeld, Jaume Munar. This guy, a lot of excitement about him. He's supposed to be really good, especially in clay. He hasn't fizzled out for a while now. We'll take Benjamin Bonzai. We'll take Gasquet over Arthur Rinderknecht. We'll take Fritz. Got to give Fritz some credit. Fritz just lost today a match where he was up like 5-0, 4-0, something like that in the first set against Grigor Dimitrov. A lot of times these guys who go really deep, when you're this close to starting the major, a lot of times it's a bad thing. Like maybe Dimitrov did Taylor Fritz a favor by beating him, coming all the way back and beating him in 3. But I think Fritz looked really good in the beginning of that. He looked really good in his last match he won, and I think he's in Switzerland or he's in the south of France. Whichever tournament he's in. I think it's in Switzerland, in Geneva. I can't remember, though. It doesn't matter. A lot of times these top players who give themselves a chance to win in a major, maybe Fritz isn't thinking he's going to win the French Open, but he should give himself a chance to go deep here. Deep-ish. 4th round, losing to Holger Rune is where I got him. Anyways, maybe Dimitrov did him a favor, taking him out so we could get to the French Open. Rest, relax, practice, get acclimated with the surface. Tommy Paul. I got to upset there. I got the Qualife taking him out. Maybe that's dumb. Jari, I got him, although he took out Zverev today. Maybe he did Zverev a favor. Although I think Zverev I don't know if Zverev has himself going super deep here, if he really believes that's possible. I think he just wants to get matches under his belt after he's coming back from this ankle injury. It's almost been a year now. He's just trying to work his way back in. I've actually felt better about Zverev lately, about his game, thinking, giving him chances to win big things in the future. Anyway, so Nicholas Jarry beat him today. If the Chilean wins the whole thing, is that going to help him take out Hugo Dellien? Probably not, but I think he can handle it. I got him beating a Qualife and going to the 3rd round. I got Struffy Struff, who we didn't really get to talk about, but Struff, had a great run. What a run in Madrid. I mean, it almost felt like maybe he could have won that match against Carlos. For a second there, I thought like maybe all this pressure of everyone expecting him to win against a lucky loser in the final in Madrid in front of that home crowd, I almost felt like the pressure was getting to him a little bit. Hit the music. We're going to get out of here soon. I got Struffy Struff coming through Yuri Leheshka, although, you know, you would have thought Leheshka would take him out before. But I got Struff now. We got the boatman, Botic van de Zandschulp. Got Lajovic. Got a big win over Djokovic this year, although not a healthy Djokovic who hadn't played on clay yet, I don't think. We'll take Bublik, and we'll take Casper Ruud over the Qualife. And who knows with Bublik if he'll come through. But Ruud almost lost to Bublik. Who would have thought Bublik would take out Ruud in Rome? He almost did. Beat him 7-0 in a tiebreak in the third set. Anyways, is he going to beat him here this time? It's hard to beat someone twice who's good on this tour. Best of 5 on clay at the French. I'll take Ruud, but I put a question mark there just to, maybe it's because I just saw him lose again right when I was filling this out yesterday. We'll take the boatman coming through. I got the boatman beating Ruud. Maybe that's crazy. I got Struffy Struff beating the boatman. That's a weird quarterfinal, right? We got Holger Rune taking out Jan Lender's Struffy Struff and going to the semis to face Medvedev. Let's blaze through this one. We already got the music running. I'll take Sinner. I'll take Altmaier. My stock in Sinner has gone down, though. We'll take Ruud Savory. We'll take Grigor, even though he's still going to be playing. He's going to come with little rest, not much time to practice, but we'll see what happens there. I'll take Grigor. I'll take Emil over Grigor. I'll take Sinner over Emil. Sinner's beat Emil plenty of times. We'll take Zverev over Lloyd Harris. We'll take Molcan. We'll take Zverev all the way through to the Sinner. I put a question mark there because I don't know. I kind of think it might be Zverev rematch against Meds from Rome. And that could be tough, but I'll still take Meds there. We'll take Pop. Lexi Poprin. We'll take Tiafoe, but he loses to Pop. Zverev takes out Pop. It's not a bad draw for Zverev. Zverev could shock us and go to the semis or the final here. If, like, just with Djokovic, if Zverev can just keep working himself back. He hasn't looked too bad, even though we just saw him lose in a small tournament today. But still, maybe he didn't dig as deep, knowing that he needs to get to the French Open in practice. Who knows? We'll take Coric. We'll take Dominic Thiem. We'll take Coric over Thiem. Coric is having a comeback. We'll take Draper. Looks, he's got a big game. We'll take the Demon, although Ivashka can play a big game on clay, but we'll take Demon. We'll take Draper over Demon. We'll take Coric over Draper. We'll take the Wolfmeister. We'll take Jordan Thompson. We'll take House. We'll take Meds. Over all those losers, we'll take Meds. Coric, yeah, we'll take Meds. Zverev or Sinner, I'm going to go with Meds over Holger Rune. If Rune couldn't beat him in Rome, like I said before, it's hard to beat a really good player 2 times in a row. But if Rune couldn't take him there, why is Meds going to lose to him here when the pressure is really on? I think Meds solving the movement question was a big one. Comment below how does it finish? I think Joker in the final in Meds, but it's really hard to say that. I'm not sure. And I don't know, is Joker going to have to beat Steph again? Or is he going to actually have, like, if Carlos beats Djokovic here, it really is like the passing of the torch. Anyways, thanks for joining us today on Coffee Break Tennis. It was a treat. It really was. We loved seeing you. We loved having you here. Do consider coming back again. We'll be back after some play and the French Open happens. And as promised, we will show you some of that great footage of Michael Emer obliterating an umpire's chair. And we'll compare it to some other people who have obliterated umpires' chairs in the recent past. Thank you. See you again. Or wait, what do I say again at the end of videos? See ya!